What's good guys, Haben here back with another solo video. Today I will be reviewing the top 10 best female characters in the big three. I feel like generally the female cast isn't talked about enough in anime, so today I'll be bringing the best of them to light. And don't worry, as I'll make sure to properly cover why each female deserves a spot, which means I might be covering manga for certain characters. So this is your spoiler warning in advance. Let's start with our honorable mentions. In no specific order, I have Konan from Naruto. Although overshadowed by Nagato and Yahiko, Konan definitely did play a decent role throughout her time in the Akatsuki, as she was constantly making sure Nagato was in check and not making rash decisions. She also never felt like those typical save me type shonen girls that most shonen authors love to write, plus her technique and fight with Obito was pretty sick. Next, I got Nell. Even though she was introduced as a child and therefore more comedic relief, as we discovered the truth about her and saw her original state, she definitely shot up there for me, as one of the previous third Arankars with a dope character design and release. Finally, Big Mom. I think Big Mom is very much slept on, as a lot of closed-minded viewers finish watching Whole Cake and claim she's very annoying and has nothing else going for her besides her love for food, which is extremely incorrect, as she has a creepy introduction, plays a major role as a pirate being a Yonko, a backstory that's extremely fitting for her character, and a lot more. She probably could have slipped into the top 10, but I think she's more fitting in the honorable mention. Starting the list right at 10th, I have Soifone, a character who didn't play a major role throughout the series, but when on the screen had her moments. My favorite being her interactions and fight with Yoruichi in Soul Society about the Stealth Force, where she was actually trained under Yoruichi to become the Soul Society's version of an assassin, which is exactly what her character is based off of. Let's also not forget her sick fights with the Second Espada and BG9. Like I said, her character design and Shikai are supposed to reflect what an assassin would be. Her ability where she taps you twice in the same spot you're dead is proof of that. Also, she doesn't make noise when she's running around due to her training under the Stealth Force. Kubo, being the creatively funny genius he is, decided for her Bankai, we'll just make it one giant RPG, which is pretty humorous in my opinion. But a lot of the Bleach female cast are very independent and outgoing characters, so it's not a surprise that we'd see more of them on this list. Speaking of Bleach female cast, at 9th I have Yoruichi, former captain of the 2nd Division of the Gotei 13, as well as the former commander of the Stealth Force. Not having her in the top 10 would be pretty ridiculous. After abandoning her post to aid Kisuke in the world of the living, she still has a decent amount of impactful moments throughout the series. Like I mentioned previously, her fight with Soifone, returning back to the Soul Society to rescue Rukia, teaching Ichigo Bankai within 2 days. She even keeps up with Byakuya even though being out of the game for a very long time. And all this is in Soul Society alone. Because she was also in the Stealth Force, her character design also reflects an assassin, which I'm assuming where she got her cat transformation from. Also, I gotta throw this out there, but one of the few black female characters done right in anime, considering that there's a lot of black representation of black characters in culture. Thankfully, Kubo knows what he's doing. Back to the story, has her little 1-2 moments in the Arankar arc with Yami and Karakura Town with Aizen. In the 1000-Year Blood War arc, she returns to Orihime, Chad, and Ichigo to take on Yuhaba to prevent him from getting the Soul King, and her final fight with Askanok, where she shows off her crazy Shunko. If anyone ever tries pinning the terms bland, boring, irrelevant, unvaried, etc. on Yoruichi, just know they're hating heavy, and not having her on this list would be a crime. At 8th, I have Boa Hancock. Although very little screen time compared to most females in One Piece, we still learned a lot about her character during the arc she did appear in. First, we all gotta admit, she's clearly the perfect example of self-empowerment. After being forced into slavery with her sisters at the young age of 12, even force-fed devil fruits as a method of entertainment for celestial dragons, and they even branded Boa and her sisters on their back like some random play toys they claim. Boa and her sisters thought their life would start and end as a slave, until Fisher Tiger and their crew came by and freed them. She was returned to her home with the help of Rayleigh and a couple others, where she would eventually become the island's empress, as well as one of the 7 warlords. From that moment on, her hatred for men grew strong, since she was abused as a child by celestial dragons, and taught the rest of the girls from Amazon Lily about self-empowerment. If it wasn't obvious already, her character is based on Medusa, hence her snake-like clothing, as well as her turning to people type devil fruit. Her comedic gimmick where she does look upwards while pointing, or whenever she gawks over Luffy, also keeps her character fresh, because instead of constantly getting a sadistic lady that would eventually feel one-dimensional, we get to see her many different personalities, which complements her character nicely. The original Kenpachi herself, Yatsuri Unohana, taking the 7th place. Unohana definitely had the greatest comeback out of all the female casts in Bleach, considering that she really didn't have any screen time, impactful moments, or memorable fights. basically just a walking medical station until we hit the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Before we dive into the 1,000-Year Blood War arc Unohana, let's talk about a couple other things. Like, she was one of the oldest and most experienced captains, obviously not including head captain Yamamoto. Her Shikai is a creature she used for transportation and healing because she kept it more low-key. Kubo didn't want to do anything crazy with her character design itself, just a simple captain's robe along with her ponytail, and realistically without the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, she wouldn't be anywhere on this list. Now, that being said, it's surprising to see these two characters on the screen are the same person. As we discover, Unohana was the original Kenpachi and was a part of the first Gotei 13 with head captain Yamamoto back in his prime. And although her character design may lack, it recovers with her frightening switch of personality and character. Also, it's smart of Kubo to give her a Bankai that turns her sword into blood, which she can rapidly heal any injury she sustains from a fight instantly, which falls under her medical type character, which shows this was most definitely planned and not some last second put together. Plus, how can we not talk about her dope ass fight with Kenny to discover who's the real Kenpachi between them, which gave us an amazing fight and character conclusion all in one. At 6th, one of the few Naruto female characters to make this list, I have Tsunade. Even though Naruto's female cast loves to get shit on for being awful, because it is, Tsunade is one of the couple of female characters that actually have layers to her personality. Let's start with her status of Legendary Sannin, which she earned during the Second Great Ninja War, crowned as the world's strongest Kunoichi for her efforts during the war. She had also lost her younger brother because he had no medical ninja on standby, which motivated her to study medical ninjutsu, where she was labeled as a prodigy during her early stages. Unfortunately, once again, her loved one had now passed right in front of her eyes, and her medical ninjutsu couldn't do anything to save him. And due to this event, she had also gained a phobia of blood, which forced her into an early retirement and ran away from the ninja world, which left her a lousy gambler and extreme alcoholic. Even though in her retirement, she was so well known as a medical ninja that the Raikage-A seeked out for her to heal one of his subordinates, which he had to challenge her to an arm wrestle for her to even cooperate and even cheat to win against Tsunade. Tsunade is forced to reconsider her cynicism upon meeting Naruto because Naruto is so very much an exception to how she thought the world worked. Tsunade puts her faith in Naruto's dream, a desire so strong that she even forces herself to overcome her fear of blood. She becomes Hokage partly so that she can live Naoki and Dan's dream for them, but also so that she can pave the way for Naruto. Her title as Hokage is even enough to put her up here, as she devotes her life to saving the village. She goes through the pain of losing a loved one once again with Jiraiya, then pain comes along and destroys the village completely. Thanks to her 100 healing jutsu, she saves the people of Konoha even though the village is completely destroyed itself. Puts up a crazy stat line during the 4th Great Ninja War. Although folded by Madara in a 1v5, she still does a lot during the war to help out everyone. I know this may have sounded like a yap session for someone who's only in 6th place, but shit, I gotta put some respect on Tsunade's name. Now entering our top 5, we have Kozuki Oden, or better known as Yamato. Someone who played such a major role in Wano, fans had even suspected that she would join the Straw Hats by the end of it. I was one of those fans. Anyway, her character design is fitting in the Wano setting since she's wearing a kimono. She also has big horns because she is Kaido's daughter after all, and even uses the same weapon as him. With an ancient Zoan wolf deity devil fruit, which gives me Sulong vibes, which is really nicely done by Oda. But she isn't in the top 5 just because of her devil fruit and character design, but because she's shackled to her father's ideals. After witnessing Oden's execution during the legendary hour, Yamato developed an immense admiration for the samurai. Following Oden's death, Yamato discovers Oden's logbook floating and desires to become Oden and carry on his dream of one day opening Wano country borders. But after telling Kaido her plan, Kaido slapped the goofy look off her face and put exploding shackles on her wrists, that if she ever tried to leave Wano, they'd explode. After meeting Ace, it did nothing but strengthen Yamato's resolve to open the borders and awaken a new dream to travel the seas and become a pirate. Yamato defies expectations by rejecting her father's ideals and aspirations. Instead of following in Kaido's footsteps, Yamato admires the legendary pirates like Oden, Gold D. Roger, Ace, and Luffy, and aspires to emulate them. Yamato's character is intertwined with themes of freedom, individuality, and breaking away from expectations of one lineage, which she demonstrates over and over again during the War of Onigashima, even taking on Kaido and holding her own. All these traits give her layers to her character that make it so enjoyable to keep up with. At 4th, I have a pick that probably a lot of you wouldn't expect this high, Hinata Hyuga. But Hinata is only in the story to be Naruto's love interest. How could you put her so high? Shh. It's okay, uneducated one. I'll show you what you missed. Hinata goes through a tremendous character existential crisis between who she is and what she represents, which they show through family struggle, a common issue not only in anime but real life. Hinata was raised to be the Hyuga clan's heiress, and her family expected great things from her, but due to her timid personality, it prevented her from truly excelling. When Hinata's younger sister Hanabi started displaying superior talents, the two girls were pitted against each other to determine who would lead the clan, but because Hinata was unwilling to harm Hanabi, a hesitation Hanabi did not share, she lost the position upon being deemed unsuited for the responsibilities of leading the clan. On top of being known as a failure of the clan, she was constantly being overshadowed and reminded by Neji, someone who's supposed to be lesser than her since Neji's born in a worse branch of Hyuga, that she's worthless and should give up. Some motivation to at least move you forward, but she couldn't do so because she lacked courage. Courage that Naruto provides. Naruto teaches Hinata that you shouldn't let your flaws hold you back, but instead embrace them. Hinata shows time and time out throughout the series, not just in OG Naruto, which is a common misconception, just how courageous she's become. First, she shows courage by taking on Neji during the Chunin exams, and even though beaten up badly, she continues to persevere because she's starting to build courage in herself and her skills, regardless if she knows it's a losing battle. She does this again during the Pain arc. When Naruto gets captured, Hinata doesn't hesitate to come to his defense. Because she's suicidal, absolutely not. Despite knowing she's incapable of defeating Pain, she tells Naruto that after years of watching and improving herself by following Naruto's example, she has the courage even in the face of death to jump and defend the things she loves. Even during the Fourth Great Ninja War, Naruto is disheartened by the death of Neji and the others in the Alliance. When he starts to show signs of giving up, Hinata brings him back to his senses by reminding him of his ninja way. One thing a lot of people love to forget is a lot of characters in Naruto have reasoning and motivations that move them forward, and the path that Hinata takes to learn how to be courageous, even in a dark place, could be used in a real life setting, which is why she's comfortably sitting in 4th place. At 3rd, the devil child herself, Nico Robin. Yes, it's not a surprise to see Robin this high, as her character is most definitely layered beautifully and has a very important role throughout the story of One Piece and keeps her relevant. First, I'll start with her tragic backstory. Robin, born into a family of archaeologists, decided to look into the world government's dirty past and ends up learning something they all shouldn't have. Because of this, the government declared a buster call and killed everyone, including traces of the island. Thankfully, Saul, along with the help of Aokiji, allowed Robin to escape, but her alone to survive. The government had taken notice that she'd escaped and put a bounty of 80 million berries on a child. Robin was constantly running from ship to house to island, getting betrayed by everyone who thought they were trying to claim her bounty. This caused Robin to build trust issues that played a part later on in her life. She lays low as Miss Sunday and works for Crocodile, but after Luffy defeats him and decides to join the crew to see how things would go. After going through hell in Skype and almost dying by Aokiji, Robin is still being hunted 20 years later. But after reaching Water 7, she turns herself in. In Ennie's lobby, we discover that Robin has a fear of being abandoned by the Straw Hats because of the danger of being close to her. So she's willing to just throw away her life because it's causing too much trouble for others. Luffy yells out they never abandoned her and that she's part of the crew as well. And they shoot down the world government flag declaring this. Robin undergoes significant character development. Initially, she's portrayed as reserved and emotionless due to her traumatic past. However, as the story progressed, she opens up to her crewmates, forming strong bonds and displaying a more caring side. Her evolution as a character is well executed and resonates with fans. All on top of this, she's the only person who can read poneglyphs to lead them a laugh tale, constantly expanding her knowledge on the ancient weapons, beautiful, an incredibly unique devil fruit, a lot of sick moments throughout the show, beautiful, lots of comedic moments, builds devotion towards Luffy and the crew. Did I mention beautiful? Her iconic catchphrase alone, "I want to live," is enough to consider her in the top 3. Yes, at second, it's none other than cat burglar Nami. Nami, like Robin, also plays a major role for the Straw Hats and keeps her relevant and important in the story. To think both these poor girls have gone through hell and back is criminal. Nami, already an orphan, was taken care of by her Marine mother who had retired and settled down to raise kids. As a child, she developed a love for drawing maps and navigations and claimed that she'd one day draw a map of the world. Bad enough Cocoa Village was already pretty run down. After Arlong pirates came by and decided to tax the entire village and take it over, that's where everything hit the fan. Arlong and his crew charge everyone outrageously, especially if they have kids. When Arlong shows up on Bellamy's door, she attempts to take him down, but his fishman strength is too much. After getting curve stomped, they tricked Arlong into thinking she has no kids, so Arlong asks her to fork up the money just for her. Bellamere gives up the money but says the money is only for her 2 kids. Bellamere loved those two too much to even lie about them, and because of that, Arlong shot her right in the forehead. As Nami watches her mother die in front of her eyes, the fishermen decide to take Nami along with them because they find her mapping skills talented at her young age. Arlong tells Nami that if she's able to give Arlong 100 million berries, he'll free the village of his clutches. Fast forward to present time, after using Luffy and his crew to take their ship to go to Arlong Park, Nami is just short of 100 million berries to finally pay off the village. But she was tricked by Arlong and had the money stolen by Arlong's goons. After falling into despair, Nami had no choice but to turn to Luffy's aid. Her evolution from a girl seeking personal gain to a loyal and caring member of the crew is a central aspect of her character arc. Despite facing numerous challenges and formidable enemies, Nami constantly displays courage and determination. Her willingness to confront powerful adversaries such as Arlong demonstrates her strength of character, something Bleach and a One Piece cast has a lot in common. Having strong, independent women who are determined, fleshed out, and have their own ideals and goals, and Nami hits every single category and more. Finally, at the #1 spot of best female in the big 3, Rukia Kuchiki. I feel like Rukia is extremely overlooked, especially since characters like Nami and Robin are highly regarded mainly because of their backstory, while Rukia, even without something as tragic as theirs, can compete on the same level, if not better. Rukia's character design, including her distinct appearance and Zanpakuto, is visually appealing. Her cool and stoic demeanor, combined with her elegant and traditional Soul Reaper attire, contribute to her overall charm. But it isn't her charm that got her this far on this list, but the way she constantly contributes to the story of Bleach. Her many interactions with Ichigo make her such a great character, as she's constantly playing that mentor role, teaching Ichigo right and wrong, even putting him in his place when he's out of line or feeling down. Not only is she playing the mentor role, but she's constantly dealing with her own issues in life. After the death of her biological parents, she was a stray roaming the Soul Society until being adopted into the Kuchiki family. Rukia constantly felt like she was playing catch up with Byakuya. To make matters worse, Byakuya up until the end of Soul Society never actually acknowledged or even looked Rukia in the eyes because he saw her as less. He demonstrated this even during Rukia's execution, as he didn't even bat an eye when she was sentenced to death, and even took the liberty of collecting her from the world of the living. When left alone, Rukia turned to her lieutenant at the time, Kaien, someone who taught her to understand herself and the ideals she follows to this day and teaches Ichigo as well. Even helped her learn her first couple Shikai moves. Unfortunately, Kaien was taken over by a hollow, and none other than Rukia was forced to kill him, where she trembled to do so and cried. Worst part was Rukia brought the corpse to the Shiba family estate, but was afraid to apologize out of guilt for her role in his death, which haunted her for a very long time. Despite her strength and abilities, Rukia is portrayed with relatable flaws and vulnerabilities. This makes her a more realistic and relatable character, as we empathize with her struggles and imperfections. Because of this, Rukia becomes a shut-in, but during her stay in the human world, Rukia's interactions with Ichigo and his friends allow her to appreciate the value of human connection and friendship, which allows her to repair her bond with Byakuya during the Soul Society arc. But the best part of the Rukia and Byakuya dynamic wasn't just "I forgive you for my mistakes," it was more like a steady "I understand I made mistakes, let me slowly start to atone for my sins," which Kubo does beautifully, as we see multiple moments throughout the series of change and redemption from both characters towards each other. Finally, like most of the Bleach female cast, Rukia is a strong and independent female who has a multi-layered personality and contributes greatly to the story of Bleach, as well as an angelic Bankai, which is why I gave her the best female character in the big 3. This concludes the best females in the big 3. If you agree with this list, be sure to leave a like and comment down below your top 3 favorite female characters in the big 3. We are still a small channel, so we read every single comment. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.